and also target IDs. How are you finding them across all the coils?
I find the target ID to be pretty consistent. I haven't found a whole lot of variation on there. The
Yeah.
only variation I do find is if you're running a small coil and something is deep, maybe you run into a little variation there because you're pushing the edge of that
Yeah.
coil's
So it
ability.
gets a bit jumpy or something like that, maybe.
It could, yeah, but if we're just going to talk right across the board, good situations, just all different avenues of gold, beach, park, yards, and relics. I've noticed that the VDI identification is very consistent across the board.
That's good.
Um, and I personally, I've never factory reset my machine to put
Mm.
a new coil on. I've been in the field on a hunt before and got into an area and went, no, I want this other coil, walked back to my gear
Mm.
and turned my machine off, threw the new coil on, 10 by 5, 15 or what have you,
Yeah.
and walked right back out over to the same spot and
Away you
just turned
go.
my machine back on.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people swear by you have to factory reset. I
It's not
haven't
necessary, really.
haven't noticed it to be necessary yet.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think also, factory reset would get rid of any specific settings you've got or notches and stuff like that as well. So then you've got to redo all of that. So
Yeah, I mean, some of that I have written down for that purpose, but I'm a believer that if I don't have to do it, then why go through the extra step?
yeah,
I just
no,
I haven't done it. I haven't experienced any need to do it. So
yeah.
why, reinvent the wheel when what I've been doing has been working?
That, yep, that very good point. So that's you've heard it there from can I call you a professional detector operator, or is it more of a hobby for you?
I'm all for it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's so you've heard it from a professional prospector and also Coiltek that you don't need to reset your machine. The target
Yeah.
IDs will be pretty similar across all the coils, so you can be confident that if you've taken a bunch of notes with your MindLab coil, that they should be relative to the Coiltek coils, and you can just get out there and plug and play, and off you go. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
one of
mean,
the best
for
things.
instance, a nickel on any of the MindLab coils should be a 12 to a 13 signal,
Yeah,
regardless of what program you're running.
yeah,
A nickel is going to be a 12 to 13 on any of the Coiltek products.
yeah,
So a nickel is generally kind of my benchmark
yeah,
because it's that good point with the midtones where a lot of people don't dig signals lower than nickels, and a lot of people only dig signals higher.
yeah.
And so that's why I throw that nickel out there. Go get you a modern nickel and beep it with both and
Mm.
tell me it doesn't ring out the same.
Yeah, that's right. If it does, let us know because maybe we got that one wrong. But
Yeah.
usually we don't get it too wrong. So,
Yeah,
but
right.
that the program you were talking about too. Do you find you change any programs relative to a coil, or is it more situation where you are and you can use the same program between coils if you're in the same detecting area?
It's a little bit of both. Because the small coil is smaller, so I'm already getting just some actual physical discrimination
Yep.
before I have to change anything on the machine. I will lower sometimes the recovery speed on that small 10 by 5 coil.
Yep.
Generally, I run about a 4 to 5, but on that small coil, if I'm comfortable in the area, I may lower that recovery speed to a 3 or a 4 just to
Yes.
get a little extra depth on there.
Yep.
Um, Kind of the similar note with a bigger coil, if I'm running in a field where there's not a lot of iron and whatnot, and I'm not pressed for time, I'll drop that recovery speed way down and I'll really just take my time out there and
Yeah.
maximize that big coil's potential to really get that deep stuff.
Yep.
Even that small 10 by 5 just is not going to hit on, even though it has great depth.
Yep.
But I will say I do like to keep my sensitivity, regardless of coil or machine. I generally keep it between a 20 to a 22.
Yep.
Even for the MindLab product coils, I just do not like running my coils up to 25 on that full sensitivity.
Mm.
And that probably also plays a little bit in part to the fact that I'm usually out with multiple different people at the same time, and there's cell towers in the area.
Gets a bit
Um,
chatty then, doesn't it? It brings in a
yeah,
few
it
extra
can.
pops and squeaks.
Yeah, this is nothing on you guys. This, it's just there's just so much electrical interference coming
Yeah.
around. All of us filming our stuff and everything, but
Yeah.
yeah, really the only thing that I ever realistically change in the field is the recovery speed,
Yep.
in terms of what coil I'm using in the environment that I'm in.
Oh, that's good info. Yeah, that's really good. So with the 10 by 5, what's your favorite thing about the 10 by 5? Let's talk about that one first. What's your
Okay.
favorite characteristic about the 10 by 5 coil and why you use it?
My favorite characteristic, I would have to say, is number one, its weight. It's very, very light and it feels very balanced.
Yep.
And those two play hand in hand. You could have something that feels like a boat anchor but balances well, and you're still not going to want to take that boat anchor out into the woods.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yep.
Comfortable to have on your machine, and it's light so it doesn't create fatigue.
Yep.
And a nice balanced coil means you're going to get a good accurate sweep whenever you're swinging back and forth. You're not having to sit there and move your arm around and whatnot.
Yeah,
It
that's
has a
true.
really nice tight fit, so it's not sitting there leaning side to side when you're going over nice flat terrain. I think overall, my absolute favorite part about it is that because it's long this way and you're going to be scanning like this and walking this direction with
Yep.
the length on there, that 10 inches, you get a good um, area to scan. You're getting pretty good ground coverage.
Yes.
And if you're in an area that has a bunch of iron in it, whether you're in an open field or a vegetated area, you can turn 90 degrees or whatever degree that you want. And because it has that 5 inches on the width, you can really get that manual physical separation before your machine has to do any work on its own with the
Mm.
settings
Yeah.
to get discrimination. That's why I love elliptical coils, is because you can physically maneuver yourself, your coil, so that you're already interpreting a signal different.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I like those. And the coverage, would you say the 14 by 9, you'd have a similar, respect for that? So yes, we know it's
Yeah.
a little bit more robust and people get nice big shoulders and arms from using it, but it's a really
Yeah.
good beach hunter. But would you say that the elliptical shape is your favorite characteristic of the 14 by 9?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite characteristics about it. The 15-inch coil I didn't have with me that day.
Mm.
Sometimes I'll even get a signal and I'll just go walk back and throw a different coil on and go beep it before I dig it just to
Yeah.
see what'll happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I wish I could have done that day that I dug that early US copper coin, but it definitely is a deep coil.
Yeah.
Um, and I do like, again, I like the elliptical. I started out with the White's machines. They were all
Yes.
concentric round coils. I went to Fisher and had the F75 and the F19, both elliptical coils,
Elliptical,
both
yeah.
definitely geared for gold. The F19 more so than the 75 was geared towards gold.
Yeah.
And I loved that coil because it was elliptical. It was almost exactly the same size as that 10 by 5. And
Yes.
so again, as soon as I heard about y'all's 10 by 5 coil for the Equinox, I knew I had to have one.
Yeah, yeah. That's great.
But going to that 14 by 9, it's also really nice if you're in a big open field, but there's a bunch of iron in there, or you're trying to scout for a house site, but you still want to get good coverage, but you want to get a little better target separation. That 14 by 9 is going to work better over the 15-inch coil in terms of you're still getting that nice ground coverage because you're only losing 1 inch
Yeah.
on the diameter, but you are getting that 9 inches of separation on the
Yeah.
side by side as opposed to the 15-inch. You're not going to get any really different separation for the most part.
Yeah, it's a sort of a lot of targets can be under the coil at once. And as we squeeze a coil and go elliptical, we're increasing that sort of sensitivity through the center as well. So it can be,
Yes.
really good on the smaller targets too.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
15-inch coil, what's your favorite characteristic about the 15?
The 15-inch coil for the size, I mean, I told my friends, I was like, I'm a bus driver.
Yeah,
And
it's a big
I mean, that's
steering
kind of
wheel.
how I felt at first.
Yeah,
But when I held it in my hand and I held up this coil, you can tell it's heavier. This is the 10 by
yeah,
5, but it doesn't feel that much heavier. It really doesn't.
yeah,
And you hold the 14 by 9 inch coil and you can go, this one feels different.
Yeah.
And I have taken this out into the woods before and swung this coil all day in some scrubby environment, marched around to go to different areas where I knew it was going to be a little bit more open. I did not have any arm fatigue.
Yeah, that's great.
Um,
It's really
that
good.
said, I do manual labor for work, so I'm used to, using my arms. I'm a little younger than some
Strong
people,
man up there. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
a little bit, but a little bit.
And you
But yeah,
said what about the depth on that? Is that'd be
it's
your go-to, wouldn't it, really, with the 15
yeah.
inch?
If I needed to get depth, absolutely needed to get depth, I would definitely go to that 15-inch first, and then I would work my way down to a smaller coil if I so needed to. But
Mhm.
it will punch deeper, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a very good call for that. And I guess with mine, they're releasing the Xterra Pro, which is more of an entry
Yep.
level detector and still has the similar platform to the Equinox. All of those NOX coils will suit the Xterra Pro that's just been
Yeah,
released from MineLab 2, which is cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it gives people more opportunity with all of that there. I've got, where is it? Which one? That's the Xterra Pro there with the 15-inch coil on. So again, it's just a plug and play. So certainly another option, provides some more options. And at the moment, you don't have a Manticore, is that correct?
I do not. I really, really, really want to get one.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, you never know what the future holds for you with Manticore. And, we are hopeful that something will happen with Manticore with Coiltek, and we could be having another conversation about the Manticore and Coiltek coils that you're using. So, um,
absolutely.
that's always a good thing from that. So, um, I guess, yeah, I think that's a really good conversation. I really appreciate your time, Andrew. Where can people find you and watch what you do, on your socials?
So my primary platform is TikTok. You can find me Andrew's Adventures. The shirt that I'm wearing here, that's my logo.
Andrew's
But
Adventures. We'll put the
yeah,
link up as well.
absolutely. Yeah, it's Andrew's Adventures on TikTok, and then I'm also on Instagram. A lot of crossover content on there. But generally speaking, my TikTok is going to be my go-to. My Instagram
Yeah.
is Andrew's Adventures underscore SC.
SC. Yep. Perfect. Excellent. So go check him out. We follow him, and he puts up a bunch of cool little videos and finds, and it's always exciting to see what people are finding with the Coiltek. So as a sort of final wrap, what would you say
Yeah.
to someone out there if they came up to you and said, "Hey Andrew, I see you're detecting. Why should I get another coil from Coiltek? What's going to be the benefit for all of that?"
Well, it's going to diversify your arsenal of equipment that's going to help you find treasure. So, like I said earlier, no one coil is going to do it all. If you are really getting serious into the hobby, or maybe you're a little older and you want something that's a little easier to bring with you out into the field, you can stay out longer, enjoy your time outdoors, and find some cool stuff. I would say definitely look into picking up a 10 by 5, or if you are really serious about beach hunting, you want to get that good coverage, and even if you don't want to stay out all day,
Mm.
but you want to maximize your time, maybe go look at the 15-inch coil, and that way you can just cover more ground. And if you really decide, hey, you know what, I want to see what the intermediate's going to do and get a crossover of both with coverage and elliptical for getting that target separation, go pick up a 14 by 9 and see what they do for you.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you haven't got much to lose, and really metal detecting is one of the only hobbies out there that'll slowly pay you back your investment if you find sort of the recent coins and some cool finds that people will pay for. So, or a $250,000 Australian nugget, in the goldfields, that'll pay it back.
Yeah, it'll pay it back and then some. You could buy a whole team worth of
Yeah.
people to get a metal detector and go
Or you
out and
could,
search for you.
absolutely, you could get every MineLab detector and every Coiltek coil. See, there you go.
Yeah,
Perfect match. So.
absolutely.
Well, we really appreciate your time and your time chatting with me about the NOX coils on the Equinox machine. We love your adventures. You do a great job. we certainly appreciate everything that you do for Coiltek as well, and we look forward to seeing more and more of your adventures as you're coming into you're coming into summer there now. So maybe we'll see a bit more from you.
Yeah, we are. I'll probably start doing a little bit more beach hunting and water hunting. We've got poison ivy and snakes out in the woods now, so I like to try
Yes.
to stay away from that stuff if I can help it. But sometimes I just gotta go, and
Yeah.
I'll just deal with it later. But I appreciate you guys as well. Y'all have been very generous and helping me find some cool treasure and supplying me with some really great gear, and it's turned out to work really well for me. So I have been very pleased with everything across the board that I've been using from you guys, and I look forward to seeing what y'all have in store for the future.
Yeah, there'll be some cool things coming out soon. So no, I appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for everyone tuning in. You can hit us up on our website or socials. Our website is coiltek.com.au. You can hit us up through all of those social media sites as well. Join our Facebook groups. Contact us at any time. We're here to help you and give you as much advice and information about our products as much as possible. So good luck to everyone out there. Happy hunting. Thank you, Andrew, again, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.